Barasoain in the Revolution, the word Barasoain came from the term Baras ng Suwail, which means Dungeon of the Defiant. It may be seen that Barasoain is the town of the nationalistic Filipino fighting against the foreigners who oppress the nation. According to the former president of Bulacan Historical, named Jose Tantoco, that Barasoain came from the missionaries in this town who came from a similarly named town in Spain. The town of Barasoain in Spain is located in the district of Navarra. One of the first houses in Barasoain today that serves as a commercial establishment is the ancestral house of the former President Corazon Aquino, the 11th President of the Republic of the Philippines. Houses in Malolos City are commonly made of wood and cement, showcasing the modern construction methods prevalent in the present period. Barasoain Church history began as a chapel built by Augustinian missionaries in 1859 with Father Fray F. Ariola as the first parish priest. In 1863, the convent made of stones and bricks was constructed in Camino Real, now Paseo del Congreso, and Calle Republica, now Don Antonio Bautista Street. Father Francisco Royo was succeeded by Father Juan Giron in 1879. In 1880, a strong earthquake caused the bell tower and the roof to collapse. It was later replaced. In 1884, a large fire that started in Liang destroyed the church for the second time. In 1885, the present church made of concrete, stone, and adobe was constructed. In 1889, Father Martin Arconada rebuilt the bell tower and repaired the convent. With the arrival of Filipino priests, the church underwent massive changes, especially the facade. The Malolos Republic. With the Philippine American War finally breaking out on February 4, 1899, the Congress held its last session on the last week of the same month with President Aguinaldo retreating to Nueva Ecija. Barasoain and Malolos was finally captured by the Americans on March 31, 1899. The American period. In February 1900s, the Americans appointed officials to lead the towns of Malolos, Barasoain, and Santa Isabel. Don Pedro del Rosario was appointed to lead the town of Barasoain. In 1901, the capital of Bulacan was transferred from the town of Bulacan to Malolos. In 1903, the towns of Barasoain and Santa Isabel were reunited with Malolos. The contemporary period. In 1973, Barasoain Church was proclaimed as a national shrine by former President Ferdinand Marcos through the virtue of Presidential Decree number 260. In 1989, Moises Andrade, then parish priest, removed the wooden retablo made in the past and left exposed the original stones, columns, and the walls of the altar. In 1997, the National Centennial Commission initiated a major restoration and development works for Barasoain Church and Convent for the celebration of centennial anniversary of Malolos Congress. The church has become Malolos City's symbolic landmark. Around the church, one can find public schools, banks, computer centers, shops, and etc. that connect the city to Manila and other nearby towns. La Consolacion University of the Philippines is the present educational institution standing beside the church. In the parish, church and civic organizations remain active that keep the strong foundation of faith that is being passed from generations to generations. The organizations are also active in keeping the historical and political heritage of Malolos, particularly Barasoain. the printing press during the Malolos Republic that was restored in 1852 and converted into a municipal library. Today, it is now a museum under the management of the National Historical Institute and serves as the final repository of still existing memorabilia. Casa Real Shrine. Located at Paseo del Congreso, Plaza Rizal, Malolos, Bulacan, Casa Real Shrine served as the National Museum and the National Printing Press during the First Philippine Republic. It is a government museum consisting of relics from the First Philippine Republic. Memorabilia of General Emilio Aguinaldo are also found here. First-class families of Malolos, their furnitures, old books, stamps, paper money, and coin are also displayed in the shrine. Casa Real is also one of Malolos' oldest structure. The building contains exhibits, printing press of the Malolos Republic, and a display of the 21 women of Malolos memorabilia. Also presented here are the photographs of the 100 Filipino women. Each of them has distinct characteristics in their fields. Established in 1767 up to 1768 as the first government structure at Malolos, Casa Real served as the House of Tribunal, Municipal House of Tribunal, Hall of Justice, and Municipal Hall at different occasions. These also serve as the office of those who were elected as governors of Malolos from 1868 to 1892. The building had witnessed the war between Filipinos and the Spaniards in 1896 and in 1898 up to 1899. The patriotic struggle of Filipinos that were documented through La Independencia and La Revolution that were printed by the National Printing Press that was maintained inside the building through a decree that was issued by the Congress of Malolos. A part of this building was also used as office of the National Treasury during 1898 to 1899. In 1965, the building was demolished to give way to a commercial project that was built in the same place. However, the significance of this building as part of the golden history of Malolos was maintained when President Diosdado Macapagal declared the building as National Shrine on October 4, 1965 through Presidential Decree Number 173. At present, the building, which was restored to its original form through the efforts of then First Lady Imelda R. Marcos and the efforts of the constituents of Malolos headed by Minister Jesus R. Tanchanco and Mayor Prefecto C. Reyes, is under the management of the National Historical Commission. This now serves as a museum that keeps the remembrance of Malolos and the First Republic. The National Museum Complex in Manila includes the National Art Gallery, the Museum of the Filipino People, and the future National Museum of Natural History. These were built in the early 20th century and now function as museums that house the National Fine Arts Collection and the National Archaeological and Ethnographic Collections. The National Museum also manages the National Planetarium and over 10 archaeological sites and branch museums found across the country. The National Museum of the Philippines has three main goals, covering the diverse fields of knowledge through various educational, scientific, and cultural activities. As an educational institution, the National Museum disseminates scientific and technical knowledge in a more understandable and practical forms through lectures, exhibitions, interviews, and publications for students and the general public. As a scientific institution, the National Museum conducts basic research programs combining integrated laboratory and field work in anthropology, archaeology, botany, geology, and zoology. It maintains reference collections on these disciplines and promotes scientific development in the Philippines. As a cultural center, the National Museum takes a lead in the study and preservation of the nation's rich artistic, historical and cultural heritage in the reconstruction and rebuilding of the nation's past and veneration of the great pioneers who helped in building the nation. The National Museum of the Philippines traces its history to the establishment of the Museo Biblioteca de Filipinas, established by a royal order of the Spanish government on August 12, 1887, but was abolished in 1900s at the onset of the American occupation of the Philippines. And by October 29, 1901, the Insular Museum of Ethnology, Natural History, and Commerce is considered to be the direct precursor of the National Museum. The National Museum, a trust of the government, is an educational, scientific, and cultural institution that acquires, documents, preserves, exhibits, and fosters scholarly study and public appreciation of works of art, specimens, and cultural and historical artifacts representative of the unique cultural heritage of the Filipino people and the national history of the Philippines. It is mandated to establish, manage, and develop museums comprising the National Museum Complex and the National Planetarium in Manila, as well as regional museums in key locations around the country. The National Museums also implements and serves as a regulatory and enforcement agency of the government with respect to a series of cultural laws and is responsible for various cultural significant properties, sites, and reservation throughout the country. It is the lead agency in the official commemoration of Museums and Galleries Month, which is the month of October every year. The museum structure again changed in 1933 when the Philippine legislature divided the museum. The museum's division of Fine Arts and History went to the National Library. Its division of Ethnology went to the Bureau of Science. Finally, its division of Anthropology, which included archaeology, ethnography, and physical anthropology, and other sections of natural history of the Bureau of Science, were organized into a National History Museum Division. This was transferred to the Office of the Secretary of Agriculture and Commerce in 1939. In 2019, the powers of the National Museum was further expanded through Republic Act No. 11333, which was signed into law by President Rodrigo Duterte. Under the law, the museum's body's official name was linked to the National Museum of the Philippines from just being National Museum. It was also classified as a government trust attached to the government for only budgetary reasons, preserving a degree of independence and autonomy. It is also mandated to establish regional museums in each of the country's administrative regions.
That is the end of my virtual tour. I hope you enjoy my vlog.